Hi, I just thought I'd give an update on my attic adventures. I'm just about done with everything. The average depth of it's Christmas season, so all this fresh snow up here. Haha. The I sealed up the whole house and added some radiant barrier that's up at the top. What that does is that reflects the radiant energy from the sun, and it seems to work very well. And the only air that's allowed into this section is cool air at ambient down near the bottom all the way around. And the superheated air goes in the upper channel above the radiant barrier. It gets up to about 135 degrees up on the other side of the radiant barrier. And the average insulation depth is between 10 and 16 inches. Different areas are different because it's a pain in the butt to put in. These little fans right here are the latest edition. There's 8 of them. They do 36 cubic feet per minute of air. That comes out an hour, about 15,500 cubic feet of air. The attic space is 6,880 cubic feet of air. So that means the air is completely changed in this area 3 times an hour. But they're on a thermostat. There's the thermostat right there. And it turns on when the attic gets to around 90 degrees. Really not necessary until it gets to that. When you start cooling down, it's now 78. I think it's about 75 degrees outside today. It's a pretty cool day. I still got some junk that I gotta get out, but and a little bit more insulation right there. But other than that, I'm going to be covering up all the heater ducts. Most of them are buried in insulation. The ones that are exposed are going to be covered with a second radiant barrier, the same material, in order to the residual radiant energy will be deflected off the surface of the air ducts. It's pretty much, I'll take a walk down. It's a little bit of a precarious walk. It's between R30 and R38. Some places it's up at R50 because I got carried away with the insulation. And then this is basically it. And so that's the living room area, and some of that insulation is 16 to 17 inches thick. And these are those fans. This one isn't quite finished yet because I gotta seal up the port. And then that's the rear patio. There's no insulation over that, but any hot air that comes out goes straight into the accelerators. These are the accelerators up here. What it does is that superheated air makes it sway up at a very rapid pace because it's very hot, and the accelerators take any hot air and shoot it out through the ridge vent on top. All of these fans are isolated from the ridge vent, so they don't detract from the radiant barrier accelerators. They're only for remaining air that gets trapped through conductive heat into the rafters, and then it warms up the attic area. And as you can see, it's you can barely see it, 77 degrees in here, and that temperature is pretty consistent everywhere. 76, 77, 76, 77. Whoops, supposed to be looking at that. 76, 77. So it's plus or minus a couple degrees throughout the whole attic, every square inch. It's 75. There, right there is 70, 75.7. Like I said, it's 75 degrees outside today. So the way it's designed is to, down near the floor, the coolest air, down where all the heater ducts are. I actually dropped all the heater ducts down to the floor and buried as many as I could in the insulation. Down near the floor, it's only cool air that comes in from the soffit vents. So it's ambient air temperature that comes in through the bottoms of all of these openings, and that's what comes into this main area. And then the superheated air, like I said, goes into these. And if you check the temperature on these, up on the, up above them, see if I can find a spot we can check. Well, we might be able to find a spot. Got it pretty close to sealed up, so. There we go. There's a spot. The temperature in the rafters is, well, it's only 77 degrees above. Normally that's 135 degrees up there. So, obviously it's a cool day. But even with it being a cool day, the static air in here gets, it got up to, the hottest it got was about 80 degrees in here today, which is only 5 degrees over ambient. And my goal is to have down near the floor maximum temperature 5 degrees over ambient, and then maximum highest temperature anywhere in the attic space on this side of the radiant barrier, no matter what the temperature is outside, to be under 10 degrees over ambient. That was the design goal. So I designed it all and installed it. It took a long time and a lot of work because as you can see, there's barely any room to crawl around. The distance back there to where the front of the house is 25 feet. I had to use long poles and stuff like that down to get insulation way down there. It was real, because there's no room to get there. So that's about it. But almost all of the ductwork was leaky when they installed the AC system 10 years ago. They didn't do a very good job. So I redid all of the ductwork, and I sealed the entire house. Where anything like at the tops of walls, there's leaks, and where any wires go through, there's air leaks. Everything was all sealed up with fireproof materials, fireproof foam and other stuff. So, and then all the walls that I could get to, I filled with fiberglass, which is completely fireproof. So especially the kitchen area and our bedroom. So our bedroom is now completely fireproof. The wall going out of our bedroom, and of course the outside walls are all 10 inches thick concrete. But that's about it. It's the main return. When I first came up here, first time in 10 years, actually I never even looked at the AC system when they installed it. This thing was suspended all the way up at the ceiling, and it was almost touching the rafters where it was 135 degrees, well actually 150 degrees. and so we were losing, and every single one of the ducts was just bare and exposed and sitting up in the hot attic. On a hot day, average temperature in here was 135 degrees. It wasn't even survivable to come up in to the attic. Now, even on a hot day in the 90s, you know, it'll get to, like if it was high as 92, it'll probably get to 100 in here, but no more than 10 degrees above ambient. So it's been a long project, a lot of work, but it's definitely, I wondered where we were losing all of our energy, and found out we had no insulation up here at all, and we were losing 30% of the air conditioning through leaks. So my advice is anybody with a house, go look up in the attic and see what it's doing. So alright, that's the final presentation on this. Thank you, everybody.